Hey, Ben here with Visual Dev FM, and I want to show you how you can take tweets and put them into a project and not have it cause poor performance. We all know embedding a lot of tweets can cause issues, and so I'm just going to walk through how we can do this. So let's start in Autocode. This is how I'm going to get my tweets. I like this option the best. There are a lot of ways you could go do this, but I'm going to use Autocode because I think it's pretty easy and I really like it. And it gives us a lot of flexibility. So we're going to start by, in Autocode, clicking New Web Service. And I'm just going to call this, tweets. That's it, tweets. We'll just call it tweets. And it'll spin up a new space for us here. You're going to be met with a lot of code. The one thing you want to keep is this top piece. That's your token environment, your environment token right here. Your secret token. The rest of this you can just delete. We're going to write code, but it's going to be pretty easy. So we're just going to say, let tweets equal await, which is just like a key thing here. And then we're going to say, you can see it's trying to tell us what to add. So we're going to say lib. And then we're going to hit the dot. And then this gives us all the services that are available with Autocode. We can start typing to autocomplete, but I'm just going to click Twitter. And then I'm going to type in search list tweets matching a specified query. And this is what gives us a really awesome form here to fill out, or fields to fill out, and it's going to write for us. So we can say we want to search for hashtag no code. That's what we want to search for. You can choose by location. You can say we only want tweets in English. Locale, result type, optional. Specify what type. The default is mixed. I think this is important, which shows you popular and real-time results. So you can kind of, you could say just the popular tweets if you wanted to. But we're gonna stay mixed. We want real time, like current, and the most popular ones. Count, you can do a lot of these. I'm gonna start with just 10 because I don't want the more that you have, the less performant it's gonna be, and I want this to kind of go quick here. And so tweet mode, we're gonna down here say extended. This is gonna give us the full count or the full text of the tweet. And we can add more options here, but I'm just going to say finish configuring. And then down here, I'm just going to type some new lines. So you see it wrote the code for us. I'm just going to type return tweets. That's it. That's all we have to do, except for down here. It says one required. We have to link your Twitter account. I've already linked mine. So I'm just choosing which Twitter account I want to use. I've finished linking. All right, and then down here, if we hit refresh, it's going to run this endpoint, and you can see, like, hey, here we go. We got tweets and a lot of information to go with it. And so we can now use this. This is our own private API essentially, right? So we can open this in a new window, and you can see. Here are tweets. There's 10 of them, and if we had 100, it would list 100. But you see how much information it gives you for each tweet. So let's flip over to, in fact, let's go ahead and open up Parabola. I'm just going to log into my account. I'm already logged in. I'm going to add a new flow. And then we're going to start by just using an API. So let's pull from an API out here. And then we're just going to get our endpoint here. So we just want this. And in fact, let me just show you this here. So if we right click and inspect, here in our console, we could go over here and we could say console.table. And then we could say JSON, and then hit enter and return this. And you see it gives us, we want the statuses. So we can come up here and say .statuses. If we want to kind of see what this would look like. And you can see these are all the tweets here. here's the full text of the tweets. Here's the ID. Here's when it was created. Here's the source. And how many retweets. There's lots of information here. So we can see this here. So what we're going to do is just grab it in Parabola. So we're going to take this address that Autocode gives us. Again, you can see it here. You can click this button, get you out, and then we're just going to put it in here. And we're going to show the updated results. It's going to hit our endpoint. And so, boom, that's done. And then you can see it didn't give us everything in a table, so we need to expand this JSON that's returned. And when we do that, now you can see we have 10 tweets. We can see the full status of this, and we can get some information about this. We see the English. We see that the language code is in English. This is a recent. Here's the user IDs. Here's the username, BuildBox, XUD. There's the screen name that shows up. So this is like the handle. This is the name. So we see no code news in here, developer bot. And then we even get like user description, all kinds of information that comes in. So now that we have it in Parabola, we can kind of do whatever we want. In fact, we can come back over here and just say, hey, we could give us more, give us, 20, and then run this. Or save it, make sure it's saved, and then we could come back over here and pull again, and we're going to get 20 tweets. And then from here, we can do whatever we want with it. We've got the Twitter information here, all the information that we need. So we can put this wherever we want to put it. So we can come over here and say, okay, what I want to do is I want to send it to Airtable, because maybe you don't want to send it straight to Webflow. Maybe you want to put it in Airtable and you want to send it from Airtable to Webflow. And this gives you a chance to kind of curate your tweets, so you can they're coming in to your Airtable. You click buttons or scroll through and look at them. Click a button, it sends it to Webflow, and now it's in your Webflow CMS. Or you can just say Webflow, send to Webflow. You could send these all straight to Webflow if you wanted to. So we're going to delete that. And you could build in some redundancies, so as to say, like, to filter out. So like you could even pull from Webflow if you already had tweets in here. And then you could find overlap. So there's a step here to find overlap. And you could put from the JSON and this in here. If you're pulling tweets, you could say, hey, if the tweet ID already exists in Webflow, drop it and just, give me new tweets so you don't get repeats or whatever. So this is a good way to kind of get content in if you want to. And then in Webflow, all you're going to do is build a tweet. So I looked at the Twitter embed and I built this. This is, pretty straightforward. And then once I built a tweet collection, and you could include a lot more fields. But, name, it could just be the date or the ID of the tweet. And then, like, username, their handle, favorites, retweets, how many times have been favored, how many retweets, the content, the user image, so you actually have their avatar, date, time, whatever. You can include as many fields as you wanted. And then you can put in a collection list and just use this design and start binding to the canvas. So now, in order to, use this to pull tweets in to Webflow and to use this, you have a design. Instead of it being embedded, you have all this, and you can have it styled how you want. It doesn't use JavaScript. It's not going to load, and it's search engine indexable, and so like search engines will be able to see this content, all that fun stuff. So super helpful way to to pull in tweets. The other way that you could do this is if you wrote JavaScript, you could use MDN fetch, and instead of using Parabola, you could, we'll just come down here to an example. You could, in a script on your page, request this endpoint, and then you could use, let's see, clone node. Yep, that's what we would want. And you could literally you could literally just clone this element. I've done this before. with an approach, so you could like get this and clone it for each tweet, and then just pass that information through and append it to a div on the page. So there's a bunch of different ways to approach it, but if you wanted to have it in the CMS, this is definitely a way to go. Again, when you look at this, like if we want to go back here, tweets await, lib, Twitter, specified query, the options that this gives us is just so many. In fact, if we go back, Twitter you can create, delete profiles, send direct messages, retrieve direct messages. You can use Twitter lists and get all the tweets from a Twitter list if you want to curate that way. The list goes, look at this. That's the reason I like to use this. Just the list goes on and on and on the ways you can use this. And then once you have your endpoint, you can literally just use Parabola or Zapier or any other service to get it. Get this content and say like, hey, pull this through, what have you. But with Parabola, I think it's the best because, again, you can check for overlap. And then one of the things that you can do is if we were to go into this flow and we go into the settings of it, we didn't publish it, but you can set it to run every so often. So if you wanted to run a couple times a day and get the most popular tweets and throw them into Webflow, this is a great way to do that. So if you want to just kind of curate your own content, you can do that. So hope this helps, and this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, this is directly, by the way, this video, if you're watching, you may be like, why did you make this video? This is directly in response to a question by Ben Tossell and a few other people on Twitter who asked, like, hey, how do you do this? There were a bunch of people, I want to say, that hit me up about this and sent me DMs or whatever, favorite of the tweet, like looking forward to this. So just wanted to make a quick overview. Here's how this works. Here's how you step-by-step kind of make this happen. Just a little design in Webflow, and just, again, with Autocode, just a little bit of code and letting it, Autocode, do most of the work for you. And then using Parabola to do the rest of the fun. So hope this helps. And, if anybody who watches this have questions, you can comment. I try to check my YouTube comments. I'm not the best at it, but I try to respond best I can. So hope this has been helpful for y'all.